Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to a very different video. I did an interview with a South African gaming news sort of company. They're very small, but they're called MGR Gaming, and they wanted to do an article on me and RJ on their website. And I was like, you know what? No problem. Let's do it. Let's give it a try. So I answered a bunch of her questions through WhatsApp, and I've basically combined all the questions and the answers into my editing software, and you guys can listen to it if you like it or not. But these questions were mainly for a South African audience because if you don't know, becoming successful on YouTube in South Africa is actually a much bigger deal than becoming a success in other countries. It's a huge deal, guys. It's not something that it's easy to accomplish for many South Africans. So if the questions seem very one-sided to South Africa, that is why. But I just figured, you know what, I'm pretty sure you guys would like to listen to it. So this is basically what this video is about. I'm going to start the questions and the answers right now. Enjoy.
Okay, so question number one is pretty basic, and it's kind of a two-in-one here. So what did RJ and yourself do before you started YouTube? And if you weren't in this career, in this industry, what would you guys be doing otherwise?
Okay, so first of all, it's unexpected, but I used to be a kind of like a vehicle mechanic, a car mechanic. I used to work for my father. He had a mechanic shop, and I didn't really like it. I was basically doing it because it was the only thing I had a future in. I mean, there wasn't really anything else that I was looking forward to or excited about. I was just doing it because it was there. It was a thing I could do, and I wasn't really good at it, but yeah, if anything, I would still be doing that today. And RJ?
I used to work in distribution with my father. My father was the driver. And I used to work for a cigarette company where we distribute cigarettes to big shops. It was kind of basic with a basic salary. And if I didn't have YouTube, I'd probably still be at home looking after my mom, who is a housewife at that time. So it's not really much that we have, but at least the pocket money that we get from working to these small businesses, like I was distributor, and Mr.Reach was working with his father. That was small, tiny amounts of pocket money
Yeah.
that we got. So we started off from there.
We would have been a lot worse off, I would say. I mean, if we didn't have YouTube.
Question number two. So what made you decide to start doing YouTube? And was it originally your plan to make a career out of it, or was it more of a sideline hobby sort of thing that you wanted to start and just see how it goes?
So when I first started doing YouTube, and that was back in around late 2013, 2014, the main goal of my channel was to get a following. I wanted to bring an audience along with my journeys when I play games. And that's basically what it was. But then it turned out to be such a different thing. So many times it's changed. The feeling of having a YouTube channel has changed. At one point, there was like, okay, now I want to make money out of it. Now I want to be my career. And then it just didn't work out. And then it went back to just, oh, let's just make videos, just for the views. Let's just do that. And then it went back to, hey, let's do it for the money. So it's definitely changed over the years, and it's still changing as it goes. And we're not really big YouTubers, but we have made a success out of it. But yeah, no, definitely. It didn't really want it to become a career, but it did, and I'm glad it did because I figured out something that I enjoy a lot more than I would have ever thought.
Question number three. So I think I saw on your channel that you started it around 2014. So roughly how long did it take before you were actually able to start earning from it? And what was the pivotal point where you were able to turn this into a full-time career?
That's correct. It was about late 2013 to 2014, but let's just say officially 2014 is when I started the channel. It took a very long time to get monetized on YouTube. And now back then when I started doing YouTube, there was no restrictions on when you can make money. But nowadays on YouTube, you have this thing where you need 1,000 subscribers and you need a certain amount of watch time and you need this and that and that. But back then, I never actually went through that. As soon as I had a channel, I was making money from day one. But it took me a very long time to get approved of it. I remember YouTube actually had to send me a mail through the mail with a code on it, and I had to put this in an AdSense account to start making money, and that's what took long. And yeah, so I would say around 2017 August, that was about the time where things started taking off, when we had our first paycheck, which was 1,000 rand back then, which was a big deal to us. So yeah, about 2017 August, I say about then. I mean, I still remember we bought presents, but 1,000 rand was like a big deal for us. So we went and bought presents for the family for the first time, and it was so exciting to have the first paycheck of YouTube. And everyone actually started turning their heads a bit, thinking like, oh wow, you know, Mr. Rich can actually make a living out of doing YouTube. It's very shocking to some.
Okay, so question number 4. Most of us seem to think that YouTubing is an absolute breeze. I mean, what's better than being able to make a career out of doing what you enjoy, just recording it, uploading it, getting a couple of views and having it blow up. But a lot of us do know that it's not that easy because, I mean, you have to sit for how long, you have to think of the kinds of content that you want to put up, ideas, keep it fresh, keep it interesting, all that kind of stuff. There's obviously the editing to go with it. There's a whole lot of planning to go into it, I know, a lot of the time, depending on your content. So, from your perspective, with what you're doing, is it as easy as everyone seems to think to be a full-time YouTuber? I mean, how much time do you have to put into creating your content? Does it take up a lot of your daily lives, or are you able to actually have a bit more of a free kind of flow with it? And when you originally started this, what were your expectations when you were going into this as a career?
So YouTube was definitely not a breeze. It was complicated. There were so many things that went wrong, and I can't tell you how many times that you can actually want to give up. I actually have given up on YouTube plenty of times. Nothing wrong with that. I always came back to it because I always had love for it. But there were plenty of times where I'm like, you know what, this is so frustrating, because you would do a video and it wouldn't work out, and then you would record for like 2 hours and it wouldn't work out, and your editing software would just break for no reason whatsoever. You would just sit there and wonder like, okay, how? You'll reinstall it and it'll still do the same thing. And then you get another editing software and it's the same thing. It's not a breeze. It is not easy. It takes all your patience, all your everything to get it going. And like I'm not I can't even tell you. But in the end, I do think it's worth it. And our time, like for our real life time, there is not much of it. You know, we spend a lot of our time doing content. Yes, we can be flexible, we can make less videos and we can relax more, but the less you make, the less you're going to make on YouTube, the less views you're going to make, the less subscribers you're going to make. YouTube has this nasty thing where if you take a break for too long, it will destroy you. You really have to sit and work constantly on YouTube. You cannot take breaks because the algorithm just doesn't like it. So yeah, my expectations was I thought it was going to be a lot more fun. It is fun, but there are some harsh moments that I can wish they weren't there. But I think what makes up for it is the viewers, the likes we get, the donations we get, the people we meet. And another thing is we try and do multiple games on the platform, but the problem is as well, you kind of get stuck to a individual audience for a specific game, depending on if you're a variety streamer or a variety content creator. It's actually a lot harder to do. Where if you stick to one game, it's very easy to get that because the algorithm starts liking you and starts recommending you to people who like that game that you're doing on YouTube. You see, so we mainly do 7 Days to Die, and every time we do something else, YouTube kind of destroys us a bit. So yeah, expectations was not the same. I thought it was going to be a lot easier. It is not.
Question number 5 is a short and simple one. What are your favorite and least favorite parts about having the YouTube channel?
Right, so the favorite part, which me and RJ kind of agree on here.
Yes.
And RJ, she's going to be talking with me here. Some of the questions are more for me because it is my channel, and RJ is just like my, what do you call it? No?
Your sidekick?
No, but you're a better sidekick, RJ. Come on. No, she's not, she's better than that. So my favorite part, our favorite part, will be getting to meet new people.
Yeah, because we've got a Discord channel with the community, so we're getting to meet the people who is our viewers, and they get to express their views and opinions on what we
Yeah.
do, and getting to build a relationship with them, and of course the revenue that we make from YouTube as well
Oh,
will turn out to be a career.
Who wouldn't like the revenue, RJ? The revenue is a really plus side, but again, it's actually good for your mental health. Like it
Yeah.
really is. I mean, before all this, my mental health wasn't as great, I'll be honest with you. And YouTube came and it really changed the way I thought of the world. And I learned new things about the world, and it's just great. It really is.
It lets us connect to the people on the other side of the
The other
world.
side of the world, yeah. But the least favorite thing, and I actually had to talk to RJ for a second. I'm like, what? Hang on a second. What is the least favorite thing? And
The least favorite part about it is being consistent with content that you have to release every day. Of course, we take our weekend breaks, there's tiny breaks that we take, but and then if we had to be on holiday, then we need to fill in with our holiday with the videos that we had to produce on those days that we are away.
yeah,
So we still need to be consistent with videos, making them every day, make sure there's content being out every day. I think that would be the least favorite part about it. I mean, if we can't fill in the gap of where the video is going to be, we would probably stream on that night or day.
yeah. So exactly what RJ said. You have to be consistent. You can't take more than a week's break. We have done a week's break before, and it was okay.
But then it was filled with videos in the time where we weren't at home.
Yeah, and I even had a friend. My friend, he's not a South African. His name is Spange, and he took a break for a very long time, and he had at the time 20,000 subscribers, and it really hit his channel hard. I mean, that's the thing. The algorithm again, it hits your channel hard. If you take breaks, you need to fill that up with videos, and it wasn't his fault. He had something on and he couldn't access the YouTube and stuff. But yeah, you have to be consistent. I think that's the one thing that we don't like about it.
Yeah, so we get to try fill in where we can.
Question number 6. What would you say is the toughest part about being a YouTuber?
The toughest part about being a content creator, YouTuber, is actually to tell people what you do for a living. I think that I can't tell you how many times I've gone somewhere and they've asked me, hey, what do you do for a living? I'm like, scratch the head. What do I do? I can't say YouTuber, it sounds so unprofessional. But I say that's one of the toughest parts, but there are quite a few things. I mean, keeping your private life private, like your name, your real name, and all that stuff. Especially when me and RJ are talking on a live stream, we have to constantly remember not to say each other's real names, because if you do that, people know. And some people, yes, some of our audience do know our real names, and you can't hide it forever. I mean, the biggest YouTuber in the world, everyone knows his name. But it's something that I've had issues with before in the past. I've had guys stalk me. I've had these things happen. It wasn't necessarily from YouTube, but it was from like my past stuff when I used to run gaming communities and stuff. I would have these people just stalk me, get my phone number, call my father. And that's one of the things that I try and keep away. I don't want people knowing my real name. Not even like my real name, so yeah. So I would say that, and I think RJ agrees as well. I think that, keeping your real life names and stuff apart, but at the same time, you're trying to be transparent with your community at the same time. But the names thing, that sticks with us.
Question number 7. I think this is the one that majority of us are most eager to hear your opinion on. So for any newbie out there, or even guys that have been in the game for a while already, who are just struggling and are not quite cutting it, what would your top bit of advice be in order to make something of the channel, for getting started, getting up and running with it? And then any other tips and tricks that you can give just to basically keep that momentum going in order to build up the channel?
Yes, this is definitely one that I've answered quite a few times. A lot of people have asked me this question. And now, because this is a South African interview and it could possibly help someone internationally as well, a lot of South Africans, what they do, and I've noticed this, is they speak Afrikaans in their streams, and they focus on Afrikaans, like they would call themselves Afrikaans, or Afrikaner gamer or something like that. It's very difficult to do something like that when the Afrikaans people, it's so small compared to what the world is. And if you have someone from United States joining in on your stream and you're speaking Afrikaans, the first thing they're going to do is leave because they don't understand your language. And that's one of the things I've noticed a lot with South African content creators, and they need to stop doing that because it doesn't help them. They need to think bigger because South Africa is really tiny compared to the world. And another thing that RJ always likes to say, and she always says this in our streams, is always be yourself. I know that's very cliche and everyone says that, be yourself, but it is really, really true. You have to be yourself. You have to express yourself. Try not to show too much anger on YouTube because a lot of the people who come there, they come there to get away from real life stuff. So you got to be friendly, you got to be nice, you got to be, even if it means pretending sometimes, you just have to be friendly. That's what they want. And I think that being yourself is very important on YouTube. You have to do that. And from my experience with doing YouTube and stuff, and if I can go back and tell myself one thing, I would tell myself to do more tutorials on YouTube. Something more clear, straightforward tutorials. People like those. You got to mix in some of your personality with some tutorials. But starting out in YouTube is very important with tutorials, because I also notice a lot of people, what they do when they start YouTube is they'll say, okay, they'll play a game and say episode 1, episode 2, episode 3. You see, the thing with series, this is a series now, they're doing a series, is that's for an audience that you already have. You see, I wouldn't, when I do a series now, it's okay. People come and watch because I already have an audience. But for someone who's got no audience, no one's going to watch an episode 1 of someone who they don't know. So doing one-off videos like tutorials and tips and tricks and guides and things like that really helps. And you should definitely try that if you're new, because it helps a lot. Again, that is mostly my opinion. You must always do what you want to do on YouTube. But that's just some advice.
So question number 8. As we all know, you guys have done pretty damn well for yourselves. You've come out there a lot, and obviously the bigger your channel gets, the faster you guys are going to expand. You're going to get out there. So do you have any specific plans for the future of Reach Gaming, or are you kind of just going to take it as it comes and see where the path takes you?
Most of the time, we just see where it takes us. I do have a long-term plan. It's just not something that I always look towards all the time. I eventually want to have Reach Gaming as something much bigger than what it is right now. I think that YouTube is a great way to make money, and it's a great way to help people in need. A lot of people always need help with something, and if I can in the future raise enough money for charities, I would be doing a lot more charity work than I do. We have done a charity before, and it was so nice. It was great. I don't ever really mention the charity because it's not something that I do it for publicity. I just like to do it. We helped some animals, and it was great. And I would like to do more for multiple things: people, animals, environment, whatever it's going to be. So yeah, I'm looking at a big charity sort of thing in the future. And just growing. I want to have my own office one day, with a big Reach Gaming billboard on the side. I think that would be actually pretty cool. I do have a much, much, much bigger dream as well. I want to actually start my own gaming companies, make games and whatnot, but I can't make games, so I'll have to hire people to do that. But that was something that I wanted to do for a while. I wanted to have like my own gaming, make games and whatnot. But yeah, those are my dreams. And RJ, she just likes to see where it takes us. So that's her vision.
So question number 9, as a lot of us know, South Africa can be a really tough place to make a good success for yourself, especially if it comes to something like a YouTube channel or anything like that. So basically, do you feel that South Africa has been a good support base for your growth, or has a lot of your fan base been more from overseas?
The short answer is no, not really. There's been a lot of really good South Africans who've really supported our channel, and we've posted a couple of times on big gaming groups like ZA Gaming Alliance, and you get a huge response and you get a lot of support from those guys, but they don't hang around forever. And I'm not sure why, but South Africa has just not been a really good place for our channel. I mean, I think our views on South Africa alone is just like 1% of the channel's viewership. Most of our views come from United States and other parts of the world. But South Africa really hasn't been a big support in terms of views and subscribers on the channel. But again, there are a very, very, very few South Africans who are around and they know who they are that support my channel. And I often chat to them in the streams and whatnot, and they're great. They really are. And when they do find you, they really support you properly because you know what? You're South African. So they care about you more than, you know, just like the whole world. You know, South Africans have a close connection when they can be nice, you know. But yeah, I don't think so. I do think if the only thing I can say is if you are a South African, you need to try and show more support in terms of like watching the stuff longer and subscribing and just helping out other South Africans because it is a true thing. It does happen, guys. You just gotta keep it up.
Question number 10 is more of a little bonus for all of us out here. What is a fun fact about both yourself, Mr. Reach, and RJ?
Now, I wouldn't really call it a fun fact about me, but I am not social. I, I don't like being around people too much, and it's not really my type of scene. Um, it's pretty odd to say that because I have a channel with 19,000 subscribers yet that they all watch our content. It's like, how can you not be social? You know, it's a bit odd, isn't it? But I'm not social. I'm very antisocial, and I like camping because that's like an antisocial thing you do. You know, you go far away from everybody else, and you got no cell phone, and you're sitting in camping and you're cooking marshmallows. That's something I enjoy doing. I like being outdoors. It's something that I'm not scared about doing. I'm not scared of creatures and animals and things. The only thing I'm scared of is snakes. Don't tell them that. But yeah, that's basically fun fact about me. RJ.
Yeah, I'm into retro collecting anything that's old consoles, old TV games, Nintendo Wii, Nintendo DS Lite, Nintendo consoles, anything about that is old. I have, can't say large amounts of collection, but I've got a handful of consoles that I own today because of collecting. And I've been in love with those consoles since. Going into computer gaming, it's been a rough ride, but yeah.
What's your favorite retro game, RJ? I'll put it on the spot.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Sonic the Hedgehog. There you have it.
Question 11 is going to round off our questions for the evening. This is, again, more focused on newbies, anyone that's going to try and make a living off their channel, or even just as a really good sideline hobby type thing, anything like that. So do you have any other little bits and pieces that you want to add in as extra, any words of encouragement or anything like that?
It's important to not let South Africa bring you down. That's like the biggest thing that I think that a lot of people will have a problem with. South Africa can be bad at times, and it can bring people's encouragement down. But I can assure you that from my experience on doing YouTube, it's not related to a specific country. The algorithm works worldwide, and just because you're in South Africa doesn't mean you're not going to do well on YouTube. YouTube's a really hard place for everybody around the world. It's not just South Africa. So when you're doing YouTube and you think, oh, South Africa is such a terrible place to do YouTube, you know, they don't look after us, but it's the same thing. If anything, you can do it. It's going to take time, and please never give up, because that is the thing that will bring you down on YouTube. The giving up part is very important. And yes, taking breaks is important. You got to take breaks, especially early on in your YouTube start. You know, you get to 200 subscribers, you're sick of doing it, take a break for like 2 years and come back. You'll have new inspiration, better ideas. Use YouTube as a tool as well. Use it to find ideas and use it. Don't steal people's ideas because people hate that.
Be original. Be
original, as RJ is shouting in the distance. Be original as best you can. It's very difficult to say that because, you know, you're the one who has to come up with the original idea. But yeah, that's basically what I've got to say for the last thing. Don't give up, guys. Seriously, it's well worth it in the end. If we can all do something good to make our country great, this is it.
So that about sums up the interview I did with MGR Gaming. Now, the lady who spoke to me was really nice. She was really professional. I really liked talking to her. So if you want to go check out MGR Gaming, there will be a link in the description. It's basically, they invited me to do a little interview with them, and you know, I really enjoyed it. It was really fun. And if my voice sounded a little bit different, remember guys, this was unscripted. This was not planned. This was just out of the blue, out of nowhere, that we did this on WhatsApp through audio notes. So that's why it may have sounded a bit different to what this microphone's sounding, and it was a little bit ill-planned, you know. There wasn't really anything planned towards it. It just was right there. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. It was very long, actually, considering it was 25 minutes long. And yeah, I hope we can do more things like this. I really enjoyed this. Thank you, MGR Gaming, very much for allowing me to use the recordings. And I hope everyone's gonna have a fantastic weekend. Bye-bye.